Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the very first Tiger Talk of the 45th International Film Festival Rotterdam. We are going to talk about the film History's Future by the Dutch filmmaker Fiona Tan. And I have the honor to invite the director of the festival himself, Mr. Bero Bayer, who is going to tell us about his choice of this film to the Tiger Award competition. Please welcome Bero Bayer. And before we start talking about the film, actually, I wanted to congratulate you on the beautiful opening night yesterday. I think it was fantastic and successful. How was it for you?
Well, to use a nice Dutch proverb, I think I fell with my nose in the butter.
Good.
Because to open a festival, and my first edition as artistic director, with Her Majesty coming,
Yeah.
A, with some very close friends of mine being in the audience, B, including filmmakers from afar,
Yeah,
and with a fantastic opening film, Beyond Sleep.
fantastic.
That
I
was
agree.
really, I was flying high. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It was nice.
Yes, it was a wonderful atmosphere all over the whole evening, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And tonight we have started with the Hivos Tiger Award competition with the first nominee, History's Future by Fiona Tan. Can you tell us something more about your choice? I know that this was actually the very first film that you have selected somewhere in September.
Yes. Well, it started with the idea of giving the Tiger films in the competition, the flagship of the festival, the most attention.
Okay.
To devote, and that was, to be honest, kind of ripped off from the Semaine de la Critique in Cannes, because they have one film a day.
Yeah.
And that one film gets the spotlight of the day,
Yeah.
gets its own poster, its own talk show, gets
Yes.
its own premiere, and the Tigers are not competing on that day with each other at all.
Yes.
I liked that very much, which meant we had to narrow the amount of films that could compete.
Yeah. So it
With-
went like before it was 12, 13, and now we have
Sometimes 15, and now it's
sometimes
just 8.
8.
Eight
Okay.
from Thursday to Thursday, 8 films,
Okay.
which make the selection procedure even harder because there's many great films out there.
Yes.
And there's actually many films that were almost in competition that for one reason or another are still in the festival and are to be seen,
Yes.
which I'm equally happy about. But these 8, I wanted to give a kind of a special festive treatment to make it exemplary of all the films in the festival to be seen for what they are. But this one in particular was not difficult to choose at all.
Okay.
It was the easiest one because sometimes, just sometimes, when you watch a film, and from the the second minute, I guess, I was in it. And I felt rocked like the ship that moves back and forth.
Yep.
I felt confused in time. I was thinking, did I remember correctly or what did I remember? I was touched. And I thought it was hugely cinematically evolved. And what I thought was particularly brilliant, what I mentioned at the just right before the film, but I'm sure not everybody was here,
I'm sure we have a new guest. Yeah.
was that you can have visual artists that are, an artist in their own right, like Fiona Tan,
Yes.
exposes all over
Yes.
has expositions all over the world.
Yes.
Is like a big artist. We're having an art exhibition of her work,
Yep.
some of her work, in the Hofplein building, which we opened today, so that's awesome. But to have an artist like that go into film can give 2 examples. Either it becomes a full feature film, just normal film rules,
Yes.
just an ordinary feature film, 3-act structure,
Yes.
read McKay and do that. Or you have someone that makes something which is still intended for a museum.
She stayed true to herself as an artist in the
Yes,
film.
but because what she did, to my humble opinion, was she was able to bring these 2 together
Yep.
and really bring something else.
Yes.
Really use that visual artist feel in what is just a cinematic experience.
So what
That's
is
quite
the
unusual.
film about? Can you say our audience that haven't been in the cinema with a few words? I can say it also, but please go ahead.
Well, in the simplest terms, but you can ask the actors that, I guess,
Yeah.
even better. It's about a man who has lost his memory after an accident, or after not an accident, after a violent encounter. So he goes around trying to remember who he was. He has encounters in Europe. He has encounters with various people that bring him into, and then you think that that's his actual life, but maybe it isn't.
So
And there's
it's
something else. It's very hard to describe, actually.
It's actually a mixture of documentary fragments, documentary films, and a fiction.
Yes. Yes, and it may be a trend, I don't know, or it may be something that I personally am very sensitive about. But there's an element of authenticity that creeps into cinema when it appears documentary or when it appears real. There's quite a few films in the festival this year that have these hybrid forms.
Yeah.
Cinema is fiction, most of it is fiction, and it's just make-believe, and you put on the camera and people say, okay, walk from A to B, and sometimes actual people do their actual thing, or it's documentary footage, and you realize, well, it's actually real, and when that's done really well, something special happens.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened with History's Future by Fiona Tan. I would like to thank you very much for joining us. We realized you are a very busy man during the festival, so that's why we appreciate even more that you came to join us. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow. Thank you. So, as the director Bero Bayer mentioned, we opened today also exhibition in the spaces where we can see a short film of Fiona Tan that was, I believe, made in 2003. It's called News from the Near Future, and let's have a look at a very short fragment of this short film. In the meantime, we've got two very special guests here. Please welcome Anne Consigny, the French actress from the film, and the Irish actor Mark O'Halloran. Please welcome.
Thank you.
I just would like to say, because we don't have a director here, just a very few words about the film. And then I would like to talk with you about your particular work with Fiona, about the specialty, how was it with work with her, and we have also some fragments. So I just would like to mention, as we said, this film is part fiction and part documentary. Actually, it is an essay on the contemporary words. It's a one-man's odyssey. The man, actually, the main character who Mark is playing is called Missing Person. He has no name, but the missing person. And he's wandering all over the world because, as we said, he lost the memory. And while the main character is wandering through the world, he's actually reflecting on the state of Europe and world, of the unrest and political and social. So we see the unrest in his mind and unrest in the world, which is a wonderful parallel, actually, that Fiona managed to bring to the film. As she calls it her debut, because this is her first film, first feature-length film, she called it an existential road movie. actually, she said she started to develop this film in 2003, and then you shoot the film altogether in 23 days. And she also managed, she was also her casting director, to cast some beautiful names, some wonderful actors, European and Dutch actors. So next to Johanna Tersteche and Rivka Lodijzen, also Anne Consigny, you, Mark, and we have also Manjinder Virk, who is sitting here in the audience with us. So let's start with Mark.
Okay.
I read somewhere you are not only an actor but also a scriptwriter.
Yes.
You were playing, it's a very important leading role actually throughout the film. How did you, and if yes, how much were you involved in creative part of the film?
Well, things were changing as we were filming a little bit, but the script arrived as the script was. I mean, I didn't go into it thinking, oh, this is going to be a blockbuster action movie. There was an awareness that you're engaging with an artist who has a very strong vision. I became aware of her work through it, and there's a great continuity between her work, her gallery work, into this.
So did you know her work before you
I
met her?
didn't know it beforehand,
You didn't.
but I did my research.
Okay. Good.
And we had a week's rehearsal before we went in. So there was a lot of talk, and we went through the script. It's a kind of an interesting one because you get cast as a character who doesn't have an identity.
Yes, very interesting. Yeah.
So I think that one of the things is you keep it close to yourself.
Okay.
You know, you keep. He has certain medical problems have happened to him. So he's one side of his body is weaker than the other after a brain bleed, probably.
Yeah.
He has speech difficulties, etc. So you can build something around that. But I think he has to be a blank canvas onto which other actors and other characters project onto him. I think an audience projects onto him. So that was all. It was very interesting.
Shall we have a look because we
For
have
sure.
a short fragment so that our audience, people who haven't seen the film, can get a little bit of the feel.
Uh-huh.
Finger, face, frog, fire. Furious, futile, fragile. Fallow, false, filter, flounder, file. Fiction, fog, bait. Frank, ferry, thread. You, him, who, her, me. Where am I? Doesn't matter. Patient referred to here as MP and classified as a missing person.
Classified as a missing person.
Severe retrograde amnesia. loss of biographical memory. Patient displays nervous, paranoid tendencies, migraines, insomnia, normal sensory filtering malfunctions, known to cause disorientation and anxiety. Mustn't stay. Must move on. Mustn't stay, 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 must move on.
Thank you. So you mentioned that you were discussing with the director Fiona Tan the work, how you will work together. But I was wondering, because you are actually representing, you are acting someone who lost memory. How did you prepare for it?
I think one of the things
some special,
that I felt was that I imagined that losing yourself, the grief that you would feel of losing yourself must be incredibly painful and sad and difficult and frightening. And so they were kind of things that I reacted to in the script, and that Fiona went, yes, this is what it's about. And also it has resonances, I suppose, if we're to think of Europe at the moment and we feel that perhaps we've lost ourselves, or we've lost who we are, or what are our values with regard to the rest of the world. And I think that those things are all in there, and I found all that really interesting. The other thing that's always also really interesting is normally in a film you're working within a 3-act structure and you're told a film can only be this, and Fiona was coming and saying no.
Okay.
And she was throwing that up in the air, and that's incredibly exciting to
also, she
work
was
in.
giving you freedom of.
She does. I mean, Fiona knows what she wants, but she also respects. Your own acting journey is going to has to be brought into it, and she was terrific at that, and she was great on set, supporting. She wasn't just what you think is she's all about the visuals, or she's all. She really was into the acting and the acting beats, and I found her incredibly exciting to work for.
Well, fantastic. I also noticed that throughout the whole film, you are changing appearance so
That's
much.
true.
It's very, very fascinating. Also, did it have some logics, or what was behind that? Because one time you have bird, another time all your looks are that you don't see also often in the film. So was it a reaction on this documentary?
Well, I think one of the things is that he discovers that he can put on identity and take off identity, and that so much of that is a construct in our own lives as well. And he feels liberated by being able to do that, or he's making discoveries within himself by pretending to be somebody else for a day or 2 days or in a certain town. So it was interesting. There was a lot of glue. There was a lot of glue used.
Okay, good. I would like to let's go to the second clip. We would like to talk with Anne also. Let's have a look at the second clip.
C'est bien toi, non? Je me trompe pas, c'est bien toi. Hein? C'est moi, Caro. Caroline. Tu te souviens de moi, non?
Caroline, on se connaît.
Je me trompe pas, c'est bien toi. Hein?
Bien, en fait, je ne suis plus celui que j'étais avant.
Je suis tellement contente de te revoir, ça fait tellement longtemps.
Tellement longtemps. Alors, où est-ce qu'on...
Qu'est-ce que tu viens faire à Paris? T'es en vacances? C'est le boulot? T'es déjà venu ici? J'adore cet endroit. On a la nature entière et toute son histoire sous les yeux, c'est exquis.
Il faut que je t'explique...
Oui.
J'ai perdu... C'est difficile à expliquer,
Je
mais...
veux que tu me dises tout. Je veux que tu me racontes tout ce que t'as fait pendant toutes ces années où t'étais. C'est vraiment bon de te voir. Avant, je venais ici toutes les semaines. Il n'y a qu'ici que j'arrivais à réfléchir. Mais on est venus déjà ici une fois, toi et moi. Hein? Quelle coïncidence! C'est peut-être un signe. Il m'arrive de rêver de cet endroit. Alors, et moi? J'ai beaucoup changé.
Je ne sais pas, mais j'imagine que non.
T'es sûr? T'essaies pas de me flatter.
Non, j'étais sûr. Écoute, il faut que je te dise quelque chose.
Oui?
C'est assez gênant.
Bah, vas-y. Tourne pas autour du pot. Tu peux dire les choses simplement.
Je ne te connais pas.
Quoi? Qu'est-ce que tu racontes?
Je veux dire peut-être que je te connais, mais je ne me souviens pas de toi.
Tu te souviens pas de moi? Merci. Merci beaucoup.
Le truc, c'est que je ne me rappelle de rien. Je ne me souviens même pas de moi-même. Je ne me souviens pas de qui j'étais, de ma vie passée. Tout s'est effacé.
C'est ridicule. Tu plaisantes ou quoi? Parce que c'est pas drôle.
Non, ce n'est pas drôle, mais c'est la vérité. J'ai eu un accident. Je ne me souviens de rien.
It must be terrible not to be recognized by your ex-lover, I guess. Maybe the same, can you tell us how you met Fiona Tan, the director of History's Future? Did you know her work, and how did your relationship with her began?
My English is not very
No problem. His French is very good.
My
Yes.
French is non-existent, might I just say. I learned that by rote.
Okay, good. Well, just quite slowly.
Fiona called my agent and said that she would like me to be in her movie. And I said to my husband, who is an art historian and who knows very well Fiona, you know, Fiona Tan wants me to be in her movie. And he looked so happy.
Really?
His smile was so big that I knew it was a good idea. And I met her, and I just had this smell that I have to trust her. I have to be in this boat, and I won't be like those cars.
Yes.
And tonight I'm really, really proud of.
So was this your first time that you saw a film on the big screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Even in a smaller screen.
Fantastic.
First time I see the film.
Yeah, it was the world premiere, so...
Yeah.
So maybe a question for both of you. What was the most memorable moment from the filmmaking, of the making of the film?
You should have a better answer than me.
I think that some of the most memorable things happened off camera.
Okay, yes.
It was an immense journey that we went on. You know, we went to Barcelona and Leipzig
Yes.
and Amsterdam,
Japan.
Beverwijk. We went to Dublin, to Paris. So there was a whole crew of us going, and at times that it was difficult. There was things like getting beaten up repeatedly for a scene. You know, that's kind of painful. But there was quite a family feel when we were making it. It being family films that made the film, but there was also a belief constantly that we were in something that wasn't ordinary. There was
Some
something.
magic,
There was a feeling of it being special. So
That's-
that was always. It felt like we ran away to sea, that we all got on a boat, and then we were delivered home at the end of it. But it was a great journey.
It feels like it also when you see the film, you feel the magic's actually from the film. There is something very special. I would like to thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
We would like together also to wish Fiona Tan good luck and success with her film, because as we know, it's one of the nominees of the 8 nominees at this year's Hivos Tiger Award competition. For those of you who haven't seen the film yet, you will have a chance to do so because the film is being shown 5 more times during the whole next week. And also please be welcome to the spaces to see the short film of Fionatan. Thank you very much, our guest, for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you here and to listen to your experience. I would also like to tell our audience that tomorrow we will be back again. We will have a second Tiger Award nominee from Colombia, Felipe Guerrero, and his film Oscuro Animal. So please be welcome. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Thank you.